check out the second channel. Link is in the description. Growing up in the 2000s, I remember playing these online browser-based games like Club Penguin, Neopets, and Runescape. Seemingly kid-friendly online worlds that your mom didn't have to, worry about you playing, right? Well, little did most parents realize around every corner in these seemingly kid-safe worlds were grown adults, many of them not having the best intentions and literally played these games to gain access to vast pools of potential child victims. Today we'll be looking at various cases of criminals infiltrating online kids games. From a Roblox player dev exposed as a pedo, to a Minecrafter who killed a child, to an illegal child-ran mafia in Habbo Hotel, these are the criminals in online kids games. Club Penguin, man, this is a throwback. I spent many hours on this game when I was in middle school. So Disney's Club Penguin, it was launched in 2005 as an interactive online game for kids aged 6 to 14. And while it was a game, it also kind of served as a proto version of social media as well, with, it being pretty easy to communicate with each other in a time before the popularity of, Facebook, Twitter, maybe MySpace was probably around, but you guys know what I mean. There definitely wasn't any fucking Discord. At its peak, Club Penguin had around 200 million players. The game had an impressive run. It had fun mini-games and was really easy for kids to get into during the early Flash era of gaming back, God, it's been, decades at this point. Now, gameplay aside, another main priority for the developers of Club Penguin was child safety. Now, given the potential risk with kids on the internet and how new the whole online game thing was for a lot of parents, Club Penguin staff made sure to have safeguards in place as they wanted their game to be and appear kid-safe as possible. As a result, the game was heavily moderated. Some of the measures that they took were using chat filters that stopped swearing or suggestive themes from being discussed, and the use of human in-game moderators that oversaw almost every player interaction, making sure that there wasn't anything inappropriate or personal being shared amongst child players. Thanks to these measures, Club Penguin was truly one of the safest online games that a child could play. And during the over-decade run of Club Penguin, there never were any controversial crime, cases stemming from grooming that came from Club Penguin. That cannot be said for this game's spiritual successor, though. After the official Club Penguin shut down their servers in 2017 due to its eventual commercial failure, several copycat versions of the game sprang up, after independent developers online had acquired the Club Penguin source code for themselves. These bootleg servers would prove to be quite popular, and many children who played the original Club Penguin would migrate over to the unofficial options. A server called Club Penguin Online was the main copycat and was surging in popularity around the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, with almost 7 million users being registered. While Club Penguin Online resembled the original on a surface level, the vibe of the game itself was much different. Without the manpower and financial backing that Disney gave to the original Club Penguin, the bootleg servers had little to no moderation to speak of, leaving children vulnerable. Pedophiles began filing into the game world to mingle with kids. And even worse, some behind the unofficial Club Penguin Online server would be called into question themselves regarding inappropriate conduct with kiddies. It wouldn't take long before parents and vigilant online users began to notice the inherent danger posed by the unregulated Club Penguin Online. It was a bizarre situation as the game was being praised by much of the internet as a grassroots revival of a beloved dead game. So it was being spread by word of mouth and, trending topic article promotion. There were some people out there that didn't even realize the Disney Club Penguin was shut down and they thought Club Penguin Online was the OG game. Thinking that this fucked up bootleg version is the official sanctioned Disney version. While it may have began as a harmless nostalgia project initially, Club Penguin Online quickly turned into a groomer's paradise. But thankfully this situation wouldn't remain completely unchecked. Several YouTubers aware of the unfolding situation, notably Kavos, exposed not only what was happening, but also reported that one of the Club Penguin online creators was allegedly soliciting nudes from minors, and would source a former employee named Dom to back up his claims.
But what if the owner of Club Penguin Online himself was a predator and used it to solicit nudes from minors? That would be extremely alarming and cause for huge concern. This brings me to Joey Hughes, or Dom as he calls himself in his video, a former Club Penguin Online employee who made a series of videos showing the owner of Club Penguin Online allegedly garnered nudes of underage girls.
Club Penguin Online is ran by someone known as Riley, Anthony, Sienna. That's all the nicknames that he's gone by. So yes, Riley does have nudes. He does ask underage girls for nudes in exchange for admin or moderator or whatever he wants to do.
Yes, the developers of Club Penguin Online were grooming kids. Or at least one of them was. The Club Penguin Online admin in question went by two aliases online, Anthony, but more commonly Riley. And he would be accused of not only soliciting nudes from minors, but also hacking, doxing, and swatting his enemies. The employee also accused Riley of hacking his Snapchat to get his nudes for blackmail, as well as keeping his docs so that employees would continue to defend him out of fear due to threats of swatting.
The only reason why I stayed silent was because Riley had my personal information. He had my address, he had my phone number, he had photos of me, explicit photos of me. I never sent Riley nudes. I just want everyone to know that. I never sent him nudes. My nudes got leaked because he hacked my Snapchat account because I pissed him off. So he had information on me, and he threatened me that if I spoke out against him, if I told anyone what was going on, that he would swat me and he would make my life hell.
It would also come to light that another YouTuber in 2018 named Tamago2474 reported that their Snapchat was hacked by someone in the Club Penguin community after he had made videos on the drama surrounding the website and the Discord servers associated with the game.
He says, "Hey bro, I think your Snapchat account might have been hacked." "Yeah, that's weird. I didn't send anything. What did it say?" He's like, "Well, yeah, so the message said, all you
gentlemen,
dick pic." Yeah, I'm like 90% sure I didn't send that. So I go on my phone, open up Snapchat, I've been logged out. I try to log back in, I can't log in. I go check my email, 3 emails in a row from Team Snapchat.
And the alleged leader and orchestrator of this hacking, surprise, surprise, they went by Anthony or Riley. Allegedly, what Riley was doing was he would have access to all of the emails that were used when signing up for Club Penguin accounts. And if anyone crossed him in any sort of way, he'd cross-reference your email with online data breaches to basically find your passwords and information and hack into your accounts, enlisting the help of friends to do so. On top of all of that, there was also revenge porn being shared around in Discord servers surrounding the game, further making it even more clear that the legacy of this once beloved children's game was really in the worst hands imaginable. Now, you'd think with a reputation like this, someone like Riley would have been exposed years ago. Well, he actually was. In fact, his history was reported multiple times on websites like Reddit, but allegations against him never seemed to stick, and Riley simply brushed accusations against him off as fake. And when there was photo proof, it was fabricated screenshots by jealous haters, he said. The series that was made by Dom was a 4-part expose on everything to do with Riley and his abhorrent actions. The documentary was showcased and highlighted by YouTubers like Kavos and Mudahar, who would go on to put further spotlights on the story themselves. In Mudahar's video, he would even uncover that there were online records of arbitration between Disney and the bootleg Club Penguin owner over the domain name of Club Penguin Online, where it was concluded that this individual acted in bad faith.
Now, in this decision that we're going to look at, right, this is really key and important. The complainant is Disney Canada, right, and the respondent is the Club Penguin Online leader. I'm not going to name names here, but they've identified them. Disney knows who it is. We all know. Disney said that they were the ones who operated an online portal for kids widely known as Club Penguin, and they relaunched as Club Penguin Island. Complainant has rights in the Club Penguin trademark based on the registration in United States Patent and Trademark. Number 2, respondent lacks rights and legitimate interests in the clubpenguinonline.com domain name because respondent is not commonly known by the disputed domain name and is not authorized by complainant to use the mark in any way. Respondent fails to use the disputed domain name in connection with a bona fide offering of goods and services, or for a legitimate non-commercial or fair use. Number 3, respondent registered and uses the domain name in bad faith, attempting to disrupt complainant's businesses by using the disputed domain name to offer pirated copies of the complainant's products.
After YouTubers began to tackle the subject, the mainstream media would also become aware, and BBC would do an investigative expose on the website in late May of 2020, witnessing firsthand how players were simulating sex in the game and exchanging racist and anti-Semitic verbiage, stuff more accustomed to a 4chan message board, not a children's online game. The report also found many children playing alongside adults, as well as an internal proxy war that included other Club Penguin copycats attacking one another to take down their rivals, which included hiring hackers and other nefarious online delinquents to hack and dox users from other Club Penguin websites.
What's been going on inside the game is one thing, but behind the scenes, it's truly murky. Since Disney dropped the game a few years ago, there's been a nasty battle for supremacy and ownership of these fluffy penguins and their fans. Rival versions of the game or servers are accused of hacking, intimidation and stealing in order to get one over on each other. This former volunteer administrator of Club Penguin Online claims he was encouraged to attack other Penguin games.
I dox users, so I would dox them, which is personal information on the person, their address, what they look like, their family's information, etc. I would DDoS other users. I would threaten people. I never swatted anyone. I just want to make that clear. Never did anything like that. The stuff that I did is kind of similar to what happened to me. So obviously now I feel really bad about it.
A lot of their sources for the hacking and swatting reports were the same sources from Kavos and Mudahar's video. These videos would aid in bringing attention to the subject, and it wouldn't take long before Club Penguin Online staff took a hit. On May 14th of 2020, Kavos would say that there were reports of Riley being arrested, making bail, and then breaking the terms of this bail.
There are reports, no confirmation yet because we haven't found a police report, but that Riley was arrested and is made bail, in which people have said he has broken the terms of his bail. We don't know what's going on yet. However, this story is probably far from over.
He concedes, though, that he's not 100% about the reporting. Muda would also make a similar statement, but there was no concrete proof, just testimony that he had been arrested.
Now, are the police in the United Kingdom doing anything? Allegedly they are. I've heard he's been arrested, I heard he's posted bail, and then I heard he's broken the bail. And UK police hasn't said anything about it. Like, there's not even a police report. Apparently they're working behind the scenes. That's all I'm getting.
It is to note that the articles from the BBC uncovered that one British man was arrested on suspicion of possessing indecent images of children. This is believed to have been Riley, who was British. But again, there hasn't been an actual name given. After the investigation was made public, Disney ordered a cease and desist against the website. However, the game simply just moved to another major site called Club Penguin Rewritten, and the copycats just kept spawning in. It seemed like this would never end. But a few years later, there would be an update. On April 12th of 2022, 3 people were arrested in London on distributing materials infringing copyright, and the website for Club Penguin Rewritten was seized by London police. One of them is believed to have been Riley, but all the reports are anonymous. Hey there, I'm a data broker. Remember back in 2009 when you signed up for a Miniclip account and gave them your full name, address, and phone number? Well, I got my hands on that information and I've been selling it for cold hard cash ever since. Whoa, don't shoot, man, don't shoot! Another broker busted. Guys, it's time to take back your personally identifiable information with today's sponsor, DeleteMe. So anytime you sign up or create accounts on social media, gaming websites, or otherwise, you're handing over a lot of personal information about yourself, be it address, phone numbers, full name, date of birth, etc., etc. And these personal details, unfortunately, often find themselves in the hands of data brokers. Naturally, this isn't the best scenario. I mean, playing fast and loose with your personal information could lead you to being doxxed, phished, or even at worst, you could be stalked by someone. I personally use DeleteMe to keep away from these issues specifically. My first scan with DeleteMe revealed there were 7 data brokers on the internet with 20 individual pieces of my personally identifying information. Yes, they found and helped remove multiple instances of my full name, full address, and date of birth on the internet. I don't even know where I would begin to look to try to do something like this. It would have taken hours of time. DeleteMe just handled it all for me. And with that said, I think it's time you guys check them out. Remove your personal info from the web at joindeleteme.com/wavywebsurf and use code wavywebsurf for 20% off. In 2015, 21-year-old Brandon Fisher of Galloway, New York was one of the wealthiest players in Runescape, where he went by the name Moltranex. But while he may have had things together within the game, his real-life situation was apparently not so stable. This is the Runescape player turned domestic assaulter. Runescape is a massive MMORPG that has been running since 2001. Runescape isn't a kid's game! Alright, look, I know some of you guys are gonna kill me for calling Runescape a kid's game, but damn it, back in the mid-2000s during the peak of Runescape and other Flash gaming and Java games, you know, Runescape was played mostly by fucking kids, okay? Hell, I was one of them, alright? Motherfuckers had this shit running in the library computer setup in middle school, so don't come at me with it, it wasn't a kid's game. Multiple generations have become addicted to RuneScape throughout the years, grinding skills, fighting monsters, PKing, completing quests, and stacking gold. Brandon, aka Moltranex, enjoyed the latter of these activities the most. Moltranex may be one of RuneScape's most interesting players due to him being one of the game's richest and also a real-world convicted criminal. He started playing the game in 2001, which made him 7 years old at the time, going originally by the username KJ Slim Shady. Moltranex has claimed that he made most of his in-game wealth thanks to his cousin, who had collected a large stockpile of party hats in the early days of RuneScape. For those of you unaware, in the early years of RuneScape, Jagex, the game's developer, had in-game holiday events that would drop tradable rewards. In Christmas of 2001, Christmas crackers were distributed in-game, and when opened, awarded a player with a party hat. These party hats have no useful stats and are entirely cosmetic, but were only available for a short time during that Christmas event back in 2001, and were discontinued after that, but players could still trade them amongst each other. So a lot of people in the early years of RuneScape felt that the party hats were useless and like a waste of bank space, so they dropped or destroyed them. And as players quit over time, even more party hats would leave the game. So all of this had a deflationary effect on the volume of party hats that existed, which caused them to go up in value and become coveted as less and less of them circulated around the game. And eventually, these functionally useless holiday items would become the most valuable items in RuneScape, costing exponentially more than all of the game's best and rarest items and weapons used for combat. Now, the rarest party hats are estimated to be worth close to $4,000 in cash in the real world. Anyways, moving forward with party hats explained. This cousin is said to have given Brandon a large amount of party hats in the early days of RuneScape. Brandon quit RuneScape sometime after this, but would return years later to find that the price of party hats had skyrocketed in value. Later, Brandon would develop a reputation as being one of the wealthiest players in RuneScape, and would showcase his RuneScape wealth by posting it to social media. His total net worth of GP was stated to have been around 9 trillion gold. And for any of you watching who struggled to save up 200k for a set of full rune back in 2006, you know just how fucking crazy that amount of gold is. Now, it seemed Brandon had everything together. Although diagnosed with Asperger's at the age of 15, he seemed to have a strong foothold within the RuneScape community and was considered one of the most prosperous players in the game. What could go wrong? Well, a lot, and it all involved troubles in his real life. On the night of February 15, 2015, some sort of confrontation would spark between him and his father, Gregory Fisher. The alleged story goes that Brandon had hacked into his father's own cell phone to find that Gregory was having multiple affairs while on Tinder, and everything had reached a boiling point while Greg berated his son. There then seemed to be a point where the father made a snarky comment referencing how he and his wife should have never procreated, and this may have been what sent Brandon over the edge. This would lead to Brandon grabbing an aluminum baseball bat, where he then followed his father into his bedroom and attacked him. Their mother, Audrey Fisher, heard her husband's whimpering. She then followed the noises, running towards the bedroom, where she met her son in the dark hallway outside the room. Brandon, in a state of psychosis, went after his own mother, attacking her with the bat. Audrey begged her son to stop hurting her, and finally he would yield, dropping the bat and leaving his parents' house in Galloway, New York, fleeing by way of his parents' car that he had stolen. Audrey, who suffered a broken arm, dragged herself to the neighbor's house and called 911. Her husband Gregory had been hurt so badly that he lost his left eye and sustained numerous head injuries. While on the run, Brandon would write a post on his Runescape Facebook page stating, quote, "Goodbye, my Runescape friends. Real life just threw a curveball. Don't know if I'll ever be online again. Don't bother asking what happened." And on his personal Facebook page, Brandon would also state, quote, "Sometimes good people do bad things. Sometimes people are pushed past their breaking point. Just remember this, there's always two sides, and things aren't what they seem. I'm sorry, I guess people were right about me. Thank you to all my amazing friends for everything that you've done for me. I wouldn't have made it this far through all the shit without y'all." 40 minutes later, there would be another update from Brandon where he wrote, "K, at a spot with free Wi-Fi. I'm not quitting RuneScape. I'm simply losing my capability to play. I left my home, and RuneScape is the last of my concerns. I made this post so that all my very good friends here know at least something, other than me going completely quiet." And then Brandon would give one more final update where he wrote, "Another rest stop, another comment. Can't play RuneScape from jail." But it would be these Facebook posts that would be his undoing, as authorities were able to cross-reference the posts and find exactly where he was, locating him in Buffalo near the Canadian border. He was found and arrested on February 17th of 2015. On February 9th, 2015, Brandon made his first appearance in court, where a judge ruled that he must attend a mental health evaluation before the case could proceed. The parents were reported to be in critical condition, but were expected to make a full recovery. While in jail and awaiting trial, one of the things that would be used against the RuneScape player in court was his jailhouse phone calls to his family, where he stated, quote, "Dad lost an eye, but he has another. I should have finished the job," unquote. He was also accused of attempting to manipulate his mother into changing her story so that Brandon looked more of a sympathetic figure. And on September 15th, 2015, Brandon attacked a fellow inmate with what's been described as a martial arts kick. He tried to say that the attack was in self-defense, but surveillance cameras would show the complete opposite, and that it was completely unprovoked. Later, Brandon would plead guilty to his attack on the inmate, and in regard to the attack on his mother and father, he pled guilty to 2 counts of felony second-degree assault and 1 count of fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon, a misdemeanor. On September 30th, 2016, Brandon Fisher was sentenced to 10 years in prison with 5 years of probation to follow his prison term. Many of his family members were in court while the verdict was read and stated that they loved him and would still support him. Quote, "Our family supports Brandon. 10 years is a long time, but I will be there with him every moment. I just hope he gets the help he needs." Brandon's mother surprisingly spoke up for her son, claiming that Brandon underwent years of abuse from his father, and it had just reached a boiling point. His mother would also argue that her son had autism that would cause spurts of anger. One of the only things that calmed him down was hitting a tree with an aluminum bat, according to her. Brandon also addressed the court stating, quote, "I am far from perfect and I made a big mistake. I was traumatized by my crime, and my first 10 months in jail I was angry and confused, trying to justify what I did in my mind. I used my time in jail to grow from a boy to a man. I've come a long way." He also says, quote, "Dad, I'm so sorry for hurting you. Mom, I love you, stay strong. Someday I will be back and we can create more beautiful memories. We will heal as a family, I promise." After sentencing, Brandon addressed the media when asked about his parents. Quote, "I love them very much. I'll be home in 6 years." Adding that he wouldn't serve the full sentence because he would get good time. Roblox. It's an online gaming platform developed for children and sadly has a history of being a nest for pedophiles who hide within the ranks of these child players and strike when you're least expecting it. One particular incident involved a Roblox community developer, 23-year-old Arnold Castillo of Paterson, New Jersey, who went by the online alias Jacob Shedletsky, which was a name derived from John Shedletsky, one of Roblox's founders. Arnold had been developing a Sonic simulator within Roblox starting in 2017, which had gained a bit of notoriety online, and he became one of Roblox's top player developers. Although early on there were signs that Castillo wasn't all there. Like at one point he had falsely claimed to fans in his community that he was John Shedletsky's brother, who was one of the creators of Roblox itself. This obviously wasn't true, most players didn't believe him, but with so many kids around, there were a few that took him seriously. Over the years, Castillo continued to climb the ranks of the player-developer community. His Discord would explode to the point where the server became a hub for the game of sorts. A hub that inevitably grew quite inappropriate given the context of it being filled with children. Allegations of unchecked sexual talk between minors and adults occurred on the server, and Castillo is said to have done nothing to stop it. In fact, he was actually encouraging it. Many members that were active in the server have stated that predators invaded it eventually, and a weird fetish culture around minors developed. And one of the main enablers and leaders of this fetishization was Arnold Castillo himself. At one point, it was reported that Arnold even went as far as to personally message a 12-year-old girl, and he would get called out for this behavior within a scandalous Google Doc that was trying to expose him. On September 16th of 2020, Arnold would respond with his own YouTube video.
This is a serious video, so there's no room for satire in this. I just want to get straight to the point. Let me start by apologizing for the things I've said. I know I shouldn't have said those things regardless of the context. My sense of humor has always been very harsh, dark humor, if you will, and while it doesn't excuse my behavior, it does reveal that I had no intention on moving on any of the things I said. It was pretty common knowledge that these jokes were being made in my community. Maybe not to the extent it actually occurred, but definitely known. So far as to the point where I was known as the old man with kids in his basement.
In the video, Castillo would also attempt to defend himself by recruiting various individuals he allegedly worked with and had them speak on his behalf, with them giving testimonies in an attempt to dispel the pedo allegations and salvage the guy's public image.
Hey there, my name is Charlie. After seeing this, I want to make my point clear. I've had these things happen to me in the past, as I've spoken to him in that way. I tried forcing explicit content out of him, guilt-tripping him a lot of the time, and making him feel bad. However, he never took advantage of my young age at 12. I was 12 at the time.
I am Dead Inside Sonic. I've known Jaden for the past 4 or 5 years. Jaden's humor has never been the greatest, and he has no doubt taken some jokes a bit too far, but never to the point of illegal action. He understands the clear dividing line between jokes and serious, harmful actions against others. Yes, the jokes he had made were very inappropriate and should have never been said to a minor, but the jokes were never more than just jokes and were completely taken out of context.
Castillo even goes on to blame a 12-year-old in a server for the allegations he was facing, essentially trying to say the minor wasn't a good person and that they couldn't be trusted. Basically victim blaming. Complete degenerate talking points that no one should be fucking taking seriously.
Red, what I said to you earlier about my apology was completely sincere, and I hope you can someday let go of this hatred. However, I will call you out on this because you cannot be claiming to be an angel. Red has no problem admitting that she craves attention. Her behavior before anything else really just kind of screams it.
Now, in a community of children, initially Castillo's bullshit defense worked at quelling the allegations, and it looked like he may just get away with grooming minors. But some adults within the Roblox community, including the YouTuber Ruben Sim, would eventually catch on to the story and became outraged at what they saw as outright grooming. Grooming by a popular Roblox community developer. Seeing that official Roblox staff weren't doing anything about this community developer, Ruben and others called them out, organizing tweets, videos, and Google Docs with evidence against who they believed was a pedophile taking advantage of the youth. This would be a success, and Arnold's main Roblox account was deleted after Ruben Sim had gotten in touch with the company. Yet, unfortunately, this wouldn't stop the guy from making money due to his main account not being a main source of his income. The man used other accounts as a developer and would claim that his revenue had actually tripled since the controversy. The dude was being braggadocious. He's like, y'all can't fucking stop me. There would be a continued back and forth between Ruben Sim and Arnold Castillo, which involved Ruben making many attempts to expose the guy to the official Roblox staff. But his complaints mostly went on deaf ears. The grooming server would persist despite all inquiries. There were certainly many occasions where Roblox could have intervened and stopped Castillo because they had his identity, but they never would. Ruben Sim and others remain frustrated by this lack of understanding and urgency regarding children's safety. However, in 2022, some would notice that Castillo was no longer active in his Discord and would begin to wonder if something had finally happened to him. Well, after doing a bit more digging into this mysterious matter, they found that Arnold had actually been arrested by the FBI. Turns out prior to this, Arnold Castillo had become infatuated with a 15-year-old girl in his Discord. Using his alias, Jacob Shedletsky, from January to May of 2022, Arnold is reported to have communicated and groomed the 15-year-old through social media and gaming applications, using Instagram, Roblox, and Discord. He began messaging her privately and sending her large sums of money, buying the girl's anime artwork using Cash App, along with purchasing items on Amazon, such as an artist glove for her drawing tablet, a Max Smart tablet drawing stand, and a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro 13 Windows 10 computer that was delivered to her parents' home in Indiana. He was a fucking sugar daddy groomer is what he was. You know, basically an attempt to spoil or sugar up this young minor to get her favor, leading her to believe that Arnold had clout and could connect her with potential employment opportunities in the online gaming and art sphere. He then reportedly used his leverage as a prominent Roblox community developer to coerce the minor into sexually explicit conversations while turning her against her family. You know, telling the girl that they were in love and that, you know, her mom and dad were just trying to ruin the relationship that they had. The girl's family members were starting to get worried as their daughter was receiving gifts on the internet, and Castillo used that to his advantage, twisting the narrative and making it seem like the family was trying to come in between their relationship. Ugh. Things would grow even darker when Arnold concocted a plan to transport the minor across multiple states to his residence in New Jersey by way of Uber. Arnold would use the app to hire a driver in New Jersey and then transported the girl 700 miles to his residence, paying the driver $500 through Cash App before they left in New Jersey and another $500 when they returned with the victim. I don't know if the driver noticed anything suspicious or maybe he just figured he was transporting a girl to her family. I don't know. Regardless, this depraved mission was a success, and the 15-year-old girl was picked up in Indiana and taken to Castillo's house in New Jersey. While within the confines of Arnold's home, the minor was sexually abused multiple times to the point where Arnold even hired an Uber to purchase Plan B for her in an attempt to prevent pregnancy. It's also reported that while she was with him, Arnold confined the girl to a small room where he kept his eye on her at all times, controlling her movements and where she went, along with access to food and basic necessities. While this was all going on, the young girl had been missing for days, and the parents of her were absolutely worried. They would report her missing on May 3rd of 2022 and hope for the best. Now, the family was well aware of Castillo, and he would become the #1 suspect. But it is to note that Castillo wasn't using his real name. He was going by his alias Jacob Shedletsky. Police even conducted an interview through phone call on May 5th with Arnold, who lied to law enforcement, stating that he had no idea where she was and that she must have run away. However, authorities would finally catch up to Arnold on May 11th of 2022, after FBI agents were staking out his house and caught Arnold walking with the girl in front of his house. They then swooped in, recovered the girl, and arrested Arnold Castillo on the spot. While searching the pedophile, officers found several unopened condoms in his pocket, and when taken in, Castillo would confess everything to authorities. FBI Indianapolis Special Agent Herbert J. Stapleton would have this to say, quote, "This was a horrible nightmare for both the child lured away from her home under false pretenses and the family who was left to worry about where she was, if she was safe, and if they would ever see her again. The FBI and our partners will always do everything in our power to safely recover a child and reunite them with their loved ones." United States Attorney for the Southern District of Indiana, Zachary A. Myers, would also say this, quote, "No parent should have to endure 8 torturous days not knowing if their child is alive or dead, only to learn that a stranger used social media and other online tools to groom their child and spirit them across the country. This defendant is a stone-cold manipulative child predator who used the tools of social media and gaming to abuse a vulnerable child and then obstructed the efforts of law enforcement officers to secure her a safe return home. I commend the outstanding work of law enforcement agencies along with the FBI, Indianapolis, and Newark field offices for working around the clock for 8 days to bring the victim home safely. Thanks to the outstanding work of these law enforcement officers, this dangerous predator will be unable to harm another child." After Arnold was arrested, he faced 2 life sentences for kidnapping a minor, and in August of 2023, Castillo was sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity and coercion and enticement of a minor. It seemed that Ruben Sims' attempt to get in touch with the authorities were not in vain, as they were able to cross-reference his reports with the other arrest, and thus Arnold Castillo is behind bars. Although the non-existent efforts of Roblox are still being reported on to this day, and the company continues to be criticized over this matter. Habbo Hotel. Most of you watching probably know of this game thanks to a famous internet historian video. It's a Second Life style game developed for teenagers and boasts a large child player base. It's an MMO, based around 2D graphics with blocky pixelated avatars where players navigate through virtual rooms while in a hotel. The game is operated by a Finnish company called Sulaki and was created in 2000. In-game, players can create their own character, decorate their own rooms, along with playing a multitude of games that are purchased by using Habbo credits, which have to be obtained with real-world cash along with special items bought inside the game itself. At the time of this story in 2007, 6 million people in over 30 countries were playing Habbo Hotel every month. Although the MMO was an incredible financial success, it has had some community controversy over the years. In-game scams and fraud attempts involving users' accounts getting hacked and the effort of stealing in-game belongings for real-world cash. Usually this involved hackers stealing stolen in-game furniture. The way hackers gained access was by creating fake Habbo Hotel websites, intended to phish gullible account holders, tricking them into putting their login info into a fake website, thus unknowingly granting access of all of their items to a scammer. Now, early on during Habbo Hotel's infancy, scammers and hackers who swiped in-game items were able to get away with it pretty easily due to Habbo Hotel's terms of service, which stated that a player, quote, did not have any other interest, including no property, proprietary, intellectual property, or monetary interest in your virtual currency and virtual goods, which remain our content and property. Basically saying anything they steal isn't actually yours, and like you can't press charges because you never owned it. They owned it. See, back then, the idea of digital currency had yet to really be fleshed out, therefore anything in-game wasn't actually yours, it was Habbo Hotel's, who could theoretically do whatever they wanted with it. However, soon that would all change and the crimes would begin to be reported and prosecuted. While investigating these attacks, authorities would soon find out that quite a few were teenagers. In November of 2007, Dutch police in Amsterdam were able to nab a 17-year-old who was accused of stealing around 4,000 euros worth of virtual furniture that was bought with real-world money. 5 other 15-year-olds were also questioned, and all 6 teens were suspected of working together as they phished accounts and obtained access to various Habbo Hotel accounts, where they then nefariously logged into these profiles and swooped up all of the furniture, transferring the items into their own virtual rooms in-game. A spokesman from the operators of Habbo Hotel said, quote, The accused lured victims into handing over their Habbo passwords by creating fake Habbo websites. In Habbo, as many other virtual worlds, scamming for other people's personal information such as usernames has been problematic for quite a while. We have had much of this scamming going on in many countries, but this is the first case where the police have taken legal action. 3 of the minors would be convicted by a Dutch judge on April 2nd of 2009. The theft of accounts through phishing would continue to become a massive problem for Habbo Hotel, as in 2010 there were numerous investigations in Finland for phishing attacks on the website. There was also another incident involving Runescape, in which 2 boys in the Netherlands, a 14 and a 15-year-old, physically forced a 13-year-old boy to transfer them a magical amulet from Runescape into their inventories, beating the kid up and threatening him with a knife. In 2012, the Dutch courts ruled that virtual items could be considered goods, which therefore meant that they could be stolen. As for the teenagers, not much is known given that they were minors at the time and their names were redacted. However, that said, as of now, the 17-year-old would be in his mid-30s, so you have to wonder what this guy is up to. Is he still scheming and hacking, or has he moved on to a normal life? I mean, I guess we'll never know. Maybe he works at an Ashley furniture store selling real furniture. 14-year-old Breck Bednar of Caterham, England, was described as a relaxed and warm-hearted young boy that loved video games. He attended an evangelist church and was a member of the Air Training Corps as well. Breck seemed like an all-around wholesome kid who had an affinity for computers and games like Minecraft. But in 2013, Breck and his family's life would turn upside down and implode when a predator from the internet wriggled his way into Breck's personal life. 18-year-old Lewis Danes had begun a friendship online with the 14-year-old Breck through online servers of the game Minecraft, and later they would interact on TeamSpeak, which was basically Discord before Discord. Lewis had been running a hosting company providing servers for players within the game, where he encountered Breck and they quickly became friends in the summer of 2013. Lewis would basically become the ringmaster, and all of the other boys he played games with kinda worshipped him in a way, because he was older and had influence. However, things would get weird fast, as it's believed that Lewis started manipulating the younger boy along with other children, claiming that he was a computer genius who worked for the United States government. He claimed that he later moved to Greenwich, England, where he gave £2 million that he had made through Bitcoin to Syria, due to his distaste for American politics, apparently. Just basically posturing for the young impressionable minors with lies so they thought he was cool. But soon his acts would grow more nefarious and malicious, influencing Breck into becoming anti-government and anti-religious, and this would lead to Breck turning against his family as well.
Danes was changing all of his ideology, and Breck would use specific phrases all the time. Well, Lewis says, I don't believe in God, so why should I have to go to church? Lewis says I don't make any messes, so why should I have to clean up? Lewis says I can get a Microsoft apprenticeship through him, and so I won't have to finish school. And it always had this preface that Lewis said, and I was like, God, who is this person?
You see, Danes had portrayed himself as someone who could aid Breck's career, taking him under his wing and basically grooming him into a successful computer whiz and businessman like he was, who'd have the ability to get a lot of wealth. Breck took the bait hook, line, and sinker and was incredibly influenced by Lewis. In fact, it got so bad that Lewis even wrote letters pretending to be Breck that Breck would give to his mother. At some point, his mother, Lauren Lefebvre, began to grow worried about her son and his relationship with this older online friend. There were times where she even established a communication with Lewis, talking to him through their computer, and during this he'd be super polite and understanding. But Lauren would later describe him as two-faced, because the moment their conversations would end, he'd go right back to trying to manipulate her son against her.
And I did try to talk to this Lewis guy, I actually did, and he's sort of two-faced, so we'll talk, but then afterwards, he'll just turn on me again.
There was even an instance where Lewis attempted to dictate Lauren's parenting, which made the mother extremely frustrated.
It got so bad that I said, well, I just need to talk to him. And we went back and forth on live messaging with Lewis telling me how to parent Breck. And at the end of the conversation, I got fed up. I said, why are you telling me how to raise my son? I said, you know, Breck has told me that your parents weren't there for you, but I am there for Breck, and everything that I do is because I care about him and I love him.
She saw a dangerous pattern and at one point decided to take Breck's computer away along with his phone. But when she had his phone, she started noticing texts of Breck's friends telling the boy to, quote, be calm and don't listen to your mother. This absolutely terrified her, and she felt it best to dial the authorities in England and make sure they knew what was going on. So on December 17, 2013, she proceeded to make a call to the local police and report her concerns, where she made it clear that her son was being groomed for what she thought was sex. And she also felt that her son was being radicalized.
Good evening, sorry please, how can I help?
Yes, I have a 14-year-old son, and there's an 18-year-old person, and I feel like he's being groomed. He's being turned against his family and schooling, and it's been ongoing for a while, and I'm getting really concerned that this person isn't actually who he says he is.
The operator would tell Lauren to make sure Breck had ceased all communication with Lewis and instructed her to tell Lewis to no longer contact her son and warn the older man that she had gotten in touch with authorities. The operator also said that in the meantime, they were going to cross-reference the name she was given to see if there were any criminal records on Lewis Daines, but reportedly the authorities would not follow up and things were beginning to get much, much worse. It seems that if they had searched a little deeper into Lewis Daines, they would have found that in 2011 there was a complaint filed against him accusing of raping a boy under the age of 16. It was reported that Lewis Daines was a secluded 18-year-old man who had spent time in foster care and spent his life living back and forth with his mother and father, and was now living alone after procuring a small amount of wealth. He would be accused of rape and sexual assault, but would never be convicted for these crimes. However, the charges did remain on his record. Although Breck's mother did everything in her power to separate her son from this despicable manipulator, the relationship between Breck and Lewis would unfortunately not stop, as they would continue to play games with one another behind Lauren's back, and in fact the two even became closer over time. Closer to the point where they would meet in real life, due to Lewis creating this scenario where he was prepared to hand his multi-million-dollar company over to Breck so that he could run it. But for him to do so, they would have to meet in person, and that's where things took a sinister turn. On February 17, 2014, Breck would head out to Grays, Essex by way of taxi paid for by Lewis, and the destination was the man's flat. This is, of course, something he did not tell his family, because if they knew anything about this, there would be no way in hell they'd let it happen. Breck had led his father to believe that he was hanging out with a local friend and was going to spend the night. And this was a story constructed by Lewis and given to Breck. You know, he wanted him to repeat this story. Quote, if your father asks where you're going on Sunday, say you're going to meet a friend who's 14 named Edward Bly and moved to Cairo last year with his mother when his parents split up. He was a good friend for the first part of year 9, and he's invited you over to his dad's house for the day while he's visiting his father in England, who lives in Caterham. His father also said that you might be able to stay the night depending on their plans. Also, in casual conversation, to have your father afford more support for you visiting a friend, say, I've spent too many half terms and holidays indoors. I'm going to spend this one outside with friends. That should help him understand and allow you to go. I mean, this is like textbook grooming, dude. Bro studied Epstein. The precise details of what happened within Daines' flat may never truly be known, but there reportedly was evidence of some sort of sexual interaction, and afterwards Lewis proceeded to use duct tape to bind the boy's wrists and ankles, where he then took a knife and stabbed Breck in the throat, killing the innocent 14-year-old. But that wouldn't be all the guy did. Daines then took pictures of his sinister work and sent them to his online associates. These pictures would soon begin to spread to different friend groups online, and thus Breck's mother and father found out about their child's death when those photos were sent to them by other children. While pictures of his atrocious acts were spreading, Daines took a shower and calmly dialed the police to tell them that he had stabbed Breck while trying to stop him from taking his life, he says.
Essex Police Emergency.
Hello. I need police and a forensics team to my address, please. My friend and I got into an altercation, and I'm the only one who came out alive.
Are you telling me you've killed somebody?
Yes, I am.
Right, and who am I speaking to?
My name is Lewis Daines. I'm 18 years old. He came to stay with me because he was feeling down. Adjacent to my bed, I have a chest of drawers. I had a penknife on there. He picked it up, opened it, and then lost control. I grabbed a knife and I stabbed him once in the back of the neck, I believe somewhere near the brainstem. I don't remember exactly what happened, but the fight ended with me cutting his throat. I believe I turned around and I slashed his throat.
When officers arrived at the location, they found that Lewis had submerged his computer equipment in water to hide evidence, and found Breck laying lifeless and bloody in the bedroom. During the investigation, authorities would find that Danes had purchased condoms, syringes, and duct tape online a month before the killing in preparation for Breck's visit, and even gave Breck a cell phone so that they could keep in contact with the false alibi just in case his parents became suspicious. Danes would eventually plead guilty in January 2015. Louis Danes was convicted of murder and ordered to serve a minimum of 25 years in prison. If you ask me, that's light. The man shouldn't be able to see the light of day for the rest of his life. The murdered boy's mother would comment, "No amount of years behind bars will ever change the poisonous attitude and actions of a psychotic animal who can behave this way. No amount of years will bring back the lovely boy taken from us." It would also be revealed that Lauren's son had been murdered on her own birthday. Now, it wouldn't end here. Although prisoners are banned from communicating via social media and mobile phones, many began witnessing what appeared to be Louis Danes blogging from behind bars. These blogs were open letters criticizing Lauren's behavior after her son's death. The first was an online blog that was allegedly posted by Louis or someone pretending to be him in November of 2015, stating that Breck had suffered severe abuse at home along with other slanderous statements. The blog also claimed that Louis had no intention of killing Breck, and that he was planning to leave the country soon, but Breck saw his suitcases, freaked out, and a fight ensued. All of this is bogus though, because if you got in a fight that accidentally led you to killing your friend, why would you take pictures and post them in group chats where everyone could see? Also, why would you bind up the person you accidentally killed with tape? They're dead, so they couldn't do anything. The second blog was posted on January 26, 2016, in response to the announcement of the BBC documentary about the murder, where the alleged Louis criticized Lauren for accepting donations 2 days after the killing, and also tried to poke holes in Lauren's story of how she stayed in bed during the year after her son's murder, alleging that the woman had actually traveled all around the world doing press tours. He also wrote that he didn't send any of the pictures of the body to Breck's siblings. Lauren would also launch a lawsuit against Surrey and Essex police forces over the handling of their case, after the Independent Police Complaints Commission found that the operator and her supervisor during Lauren's 999 call lacked the knowledge of dealing with grooming concerns, and it was also found that there were previous reports on Louis Dane that were never followed up on. There have been many documentaries released about this sad case over the years. A stage play was even written about it in 2019 that centered around the grooming incident as reported by Breck's friends and family. This next story involves a Minecraft PvP hacking war that resulted in players getting thrown in jail. Allow me to introduce you to the Apophis Squad. The Apophis Squad were a collection of swatters and hackers that organized together to cause chaos on the internet. Their reputation preceded them, as they are known for making threatening phone calls, sending false reports of violent school attacks through email, as well as launching DDoS attacks on websites. They also serve as a hacker-for-hire hitman agency of sorts, and allegedly can be paid to swat your online enemies. But to be frank, their main focus isn't money or providing services, it's simply to create chaos. And in 2018, a few members of the Apophis Squad would do just that, putting many lives in danger. Between January and August of 2018, members of the Apophis Squad went on a complete rampage, cyber-attacking over 86 school districts across the United States and the United Kingdom, sending multiple threats using spoofed emails, which included the mayor of London, where they used the mayor's email to send threats about rocket-propelled grenades being planted under school buses and landmines located within the school that would go off if school wasn't canceled. Apophis Squad is an interesting bunch. They claim they were not happy with the way that, quote, schools let these boys and girls dress and not worship Allah the God. They said that students needed to follow the rules or be killed. An email from them read as following: student report, staff only. Hello, a male student will be sent into your campus as you start the day. He will look normal, but what is in his bag is a bomb. The explosive that is in the 2 plastic bottles is called ANFO. It's a very powerful explosive. The point is that when you put this school on lockdown, this student will set off the bomb and will kill every student in the room and maybe the rooms next to it. It got so bad that a Twitter account claiming to be represented by the Apophis Squad asked their followers for cash in exchange for them swatting their schools so they'd have a day off. All of this insanity caused hundreds of schools to be on high alert and evacuated as parents were told to collect their children after they had received false bomb threats. Later, however, Sky News would find that a lot of these emails were being spoofed to look like they were being sent from a Minecraft PvP server called Velt PvP. This server is apparently a server with a highly popular game mode in Minecraft called Hardcore Factions, which from what I can understand is an intense sort of Minecraft PvP mode, where it's so competitive that like when guys get killed, they're willing to fucking hack each other to fuck each other over. And it's so insane that there's like rings of people doing this. I want to give a shout out to the YouTuber Law and Lore, who does a good job exploring how Minecraft was involved with the Apophis Squad. Basically, it was like an all-out online war between two rival Minecraft servers that started out as harmless trolling and then escalated into frantic carnage that put many lives in danger. Sky News was even able to get in contact with one of the anonymous users responsible for sending the hoax emails. When asked if he regretted frightening school children, the hoaxer replied, "It's horrible. It's not the nicest thing." He added that the reaction from schools showed failures on their part and understood that there was a chance that he would be arrested. When asked if he felt remorse, he said, "Mentally, kind of yes. That's human nature, but with the community you have to become very thick-skinned or you'll get exploited." He said that he wasn't going to lose sleep over it. The goal in turn was to make it look like the Velt PvP server was responsible for all the false reports and bomb threats, along with other rival Minecraft servers. In a statement, Velt PvP said, "We're being harassed by a group of cyber criminals that are trying to harass us in any way possible. We're extremely sorry for anyone who had to deal with this, but just know it's fake." This didn't stop here, however, as more crimes were committed, which included DDoSing and virtually vandalizing websites, basically holding the websites hostage and demanding Bitcoin as a ransom payment. Another member called the FBI field office in Omaha, Nebraska on several occasions, reporting that they were deploying Ebola or anthrax in the office, and also threatened to rape and kill the wife of FBI personnel. The squad also reportedly hacked and defaced a website from a university in Colombia, blasting a picture of Adolf Hitler on the website, holding a sign saying, quote, "You are hacked. Hacked by Apophis Squad." The problem with attacks such as these is it's on the internet and it can be quite difficult to track down the culprits. But on this occasion, it seemed the hackers and swatters had left a massive trail of breadcrumbs leading right to them. You see, one of their last DDoS attacks was against the email website Proton Mail. And Proton Mail doesn't fuck around. They tracked all of the information of these guys' digital footprints down and sent them to respected agencies, such as the feds. On the morning of February 12, 2019, Apophis Squad member 20-year-old Timothy Dalton Vaughn of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, who went by the name Wanted by Feds and Hacker R Us, was arrested. There was also a second member in the indictment, George Duke Cohen, who is 19 years old from Hertfordshire, United Kingdom, going by the name Digital Crimes. He had already been serving a prison sentence in Britain due to him making a false report towards an airliner traveling from London to San Francisco. Both had been charged due to the cybercrimes that were reported back in 2018. It seemed Vaughn had been caught bragging about his actions in a forum, stating that Apophis Squad had targeted over 2,000 schools in the United States and more than 400 in the United Kingdom. Duke Cohen was also alleged to be the one behind the Twitter account taking credit for the hoax emails on behalf of Apophis Squad. On April 28th of 2018, he tweeted that he was, quote, "planning to hit as many schools as possible on Monday. We hope that anyone just wants to have a day off or get out of that math test you have will email us any schools. We are working hard on getting 100,000 emails." Crazy thing is that George Duke Cohen had already been caught red-handed in 2018, and in turn was arrested, kicked out of school, and ordered not to get on the internet after making bail. But then he did it again and was thus arrested and again made bail. But that didn't stop him. Third time's the charm, and that's when he made the hoax threat towards the airlines and was finally arrested, this time kept in prison. Both Vaughn and Cohen were charged with conspiracy and 8 additional felony offenses, including making threats to injure interstate commerce and making interstate threats involving explosives. Vaughn is additionally charged with intentionally damaging a computer and interstate threat to damage a protected computer with intent to extort. However, this would not be all for Vaughn, as while searching his computers, the authorities found that he was in possession of nearly 200 sexually explicit images and videos depicting children, including at least one depicting the image of a toddler. In November of 2019, Vaughn pled guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to convey threats to injure, convey false information concerning use of explosive device, and intentionally damaging a computer, 1 count of computer hacking, and 1 count of possession of child pornography. In November of 2020, Vaughn was sentenced to 95 months for the CP possession and 60 months for the other charges. George Duke Cohen was only sentenced to 3 years in a UK prison in 2018, but faced possible extradition requests that reportedly were never pursued. His mother did say in an article from June of 2019 that, quote, "I am proud of the fact that he came clean. Prison is doing him good as he has to grow up." I'd like to again thank DeleteMe for sponsoring today's video. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get 20% off. And well, you made it to the end. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down below in the comments section, and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.